We Can Work It Out is a song by the Beatles, written by Paul McCartney and John Lennon. It was released as a double A-sided single with Day Tripper, the first time both sides of a single were so designated in an initial release. Both songs were recorded during the Rubber Soul sessions. The song is an example of Lennon-McCartney collaboration at a depth that happened only rarely after they wrote the hit singles of 1963. This song, A Day in the Life, Baby, You're a Rich Man, and I've Got a Feeling, are among the notable exceptions. Composition: McCartney wrote the words and music to the verses and the chorus, with lyrics that might have been personal, probably a reference to his relationship with Jane Asher. McCartney then took the song to Lennon. I took it to John to finish it off, and we wrote the middle together. Which is nice, life is very short. There's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend. Then it was George Harrison's idea to put the middle into 3/4 time, like a German waltz. That came on the session. It was one of the cases of the arrangement being done on the session. With its intimations of mortality, Lennon's contribution to the 12-bar bridge contrasts typically with what Lennon saw as McCartney's cajoling optimism, a contrast also seen in other collaborations by the pair, such as Getting Better, and I've Got a Feeling. As Lennon told Playboy in 1980. In We Can Work It Out, Paul did the first half, I did the middle 8. But you've got Paul writing, We Can Work It Out / We Can Work It Out are real optimistic, you know, and me, impatient, life is very short, and there's no time / for fussing and fighting, my friend. Based on those comments, some critics overemphasize McCartney's optimism, neglecting the toughness in passages written by McCartney, such as Do I Have to Keep on Talking Until I Can't Go On? Lennon's middle shifts focus from McCartney's concrete reality to a philosophical perspective in B minor, illustrating this with the waltz time section suggested by George Harrison that leads back to the verse, possibly meant to suggest tiresome struggle. Music critic Ian MacDonald said, Lennon's passages are so suited to his Salvation Army harmonium that it's hard to imagine them not being composed on it. The swell pedal crescendos he adds to the verses are, on the other hand, textural washes added in the studio, the first of their kind on a Beatles record and signposts to the enriched sound palette of Revolver. Recording and release: The Beatles recorded We Can Work It Out on October 20, 1965, 4 days after its accompanying single track, with an overdue session on October 29. They spent nearly 11 hours on the song, by far the longest expenditure of studio time up to that point. In a discussion about what song to release as a single, Lennon argued vociferously for Day Tripper, differing with the majority view that We Can Work It Out was a more commercial song. As a result, the single was marketed as the first double A-side, but airplay and point-of-sale requests soon proved We Can Work It Out to be more popular, and it reached number 1 on both sides of the Atlantic, the Beatles' fastest-selling single since Can't Buy Me Love, their previous McCartney-led A-side in the UK. It has sold 1.39 million copies in the UK. We Can Work It Out was the last of 6 number 1 singles in a row on the American charts, a record at the time. It was preceded by I Feel Fine, 8 Days a Week, Ticket to Ride, Help, and Yesterday. The song became the band's 11th number 1, accomplished in just under 2 years' time. The Beatles made 10 black-and-white promo films for television broadcasters on November 23, 1965, at Twickenham Film Studios in London, as they were often unable to make personal appearances by that time. 3 of the films were mimed performances of We Can Work It Out, in all of which Lennon was seated at a harmonium. The most frequently broadcast of the 3 versions was a straightforward performance piece with the group wearing black suits. Another had the group wearing the stage suits from their Sheer Stadium performance on August 15. The third opens with a shot of Lennon with a sunflower in front of his eye. In 1991, McCartney played an acoustic version of the song for his MTV Unplugged performance, memorable for his flubbing the first verse and his good-natured reaction, later released on Unplugged. Personnel: Paul McCartney a double-tracked vocal, bass, John Lennon a harmony vocal, acoustic rhythm guitar, harmonium, Ringo Starr a drums, tambourine, George Martin a producer, Norman Smith the Euro engineer, personnel per MacDonald. MacDonald was not sure whether or not Harrison sang a harmony vocal part. MacDonald praised the tambourine playing and noted that some sources attribute it to Harrison, not Starr. However, MacDonald considers it more likely that Starr played the instrument on the recording. Charts. Deep Purple version. Deep Purple covered it on their second album The Book of Taliesin, from 1968. The band drastically reworked it, as they always did with covers. The first 3 minutes of the song is a fast, progressive instrumental jam incorporating themes from classical music called exposition, which seamlessly drifts over into the actual Beatles song. Such overblown arrangements and attempts at making a rather simple song sound epic, was normal for Deep Purple in this period, and they had already followed the same structure on their covers on the debut album. Reportedly, the band recorded their version of the song because Paul McCartney himself had stated that he was really fond of their previous Beatles cover, Help, which was featured on Shades of Deep Purple. It was never performed live again after 1969. Stevie Wonder version. In 1970, Stevie Wonder covered the song on his album Signed, Sealed, and Delivered, and released it as a single in 1971. That single reached number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100. Stevie Wonder's cover version earned his second Grammy Award nomination in 1972, for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance. Wonder performed his version of the song for McCartney after the latter was awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1990. In 2010, after McCartney was awarded the Gershwin Prize by the Library of Congress, Wonder again performed his arrangement of the song at a White House ceremony held in McCartney's honor. Wonder performed it a third time in January 2014 at the 50th anniversary tribute of the Beatles' appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show. Other cover versions. In 1966, Petula Clark recorded a version for the My Love album. In 1971, Valerie Simpson covered the song on her album Exposed. In 1975, Humble Pie covered the song for their album, Street Rats. In 1975, Mike Harrison covered the song on his album Rainbow Rider. In 1976, The Four Seasons did a cover version of the song for the musical documentary All This and World War II. In 1978, Melanie covered the song on her album Phonogenic You're Not Just Another Pretty Face. In 1981, Chaka Khan covered the song on her album, What Car Gonna Do For Me. In 1981, Stars on 45 covered it as part of an 8-song Beatles medley in their hit Stars on 45, which hit number 1 that June. In 1988, Kids Incorporated covered it in the Season 5 episode, When the Clock Strikes 12. In 1990, Tesla covered the song on their live album 5-Man Acoustical Jam. In 1995, PFR released a cover of the song with Phil Keaggy for the various artists' tribute CD Come Together, America Salutes the Beatles. In 2001, Anthony Stewart Head and George Serra recorded the song on their album Music for Elevators. In 2002, Heather Nova recorded a version for the I Am Sam soundtrack. In 2002, the Punkles recorded a cover version of the song on their second album Punk. In 2002, No and Myra Lord did a cover version together that appears on No's album Now. In 2004, Beatleka recorded a mashup of the song and Metallica's Hit the Lights called We Can Hit the Lightz, on their second EP Beatleka. In 2006, Plain White T's recorded a cover of the song for the deluxe version of their album Every Second Counts. In 2007, Shelter recorded a version for a re-release of their 1995 album Mantra. In 2007, Lucy Lawless and Renee O'Connor did their version at Chicago Convention. In 2008, Chris de Burgh recorded a cover version of the song on his album Footsteps. In 2008, Overboard recorded an a cappella version for their album Castaways. In 2009, The Slackers recorded a reggae version of the song on their album Lost and Found. In 2011, Crooked Still recorded a bluegrass music version of the song for their EP, Friends of Four. In 2012, Big Time Rush recorded a pop version of this song for their television film Big Time Movie. Cultural references. The song is mentioned in the 1967 film Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, starring Katharine Hepburn, Sidney Poitier, and Spencer Tracy. Denis Leary's character in National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1 quotes the lyric "Life is very short, and there's no time for fighting or fussing, my friend" during a war of words with William Shatner's character. Bad Religion quoted the lyric "There's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend" in their song You on the No Control album. The same song references McCartney's solo hit Maybe I'm Amazed. Notes. References. External links: Alan W. Pollack's Notes on We Can Work It Out.